Let me just ask you a simple question, I suppose. Of all that money that came out of the sale of that house, who benefited the most from that money? Raul Ruiz or Lori, his wife? Raul. And what money Lori still had got? He even threatened her to get that money, didn't he?
I don't even think we could pay the electric bill when he first left. Yep. He said we had all this money. I ended up having to almost quit school and get a job to support us. So I would say he benefited the majority.
Are you Ms. Stelzick? You entered a plea on July 11th. You applied for deferred adjudication. There was sufficient evidence to find you guilty. According to the plea bargain agreement, punishment was to be assessed at 10 years in the prison. The state is opposing your application for deferred adjudication. They're recommending community supervision. Have both parties had a chance to review the PSI report, state?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections to the PSI report, state?
None, Your Honor.
Defense?
None, Your Honor.
All right.
Some explanations, but it's substantially correct.
All right, thank you. Does anyone have any witnesses, state?
No, Your Honor.
Defense?
No.
You have witnesses?
No.
All right. I know that the state is opposed to her application for deferred adjudication, but state, since you have no witnesses, I'll proceed with the defense first.
Thank you. There's a hallway that she.
Sure.
I explained the problem I had no objection to that.
Thank you. All right, please come forward. The first witness. One at a time. Okay, so here's the thing, everyone. We're doing a hearing, so everyone needs to sit down if you're not a part of this hearing. All right, can you raise your, well, I'm sorry, defense, call your witness.
For the benefit of the court reporter, say your name out loud and spell your name.
Kimberly Tristan, Kimberly Tristan.
All right, can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand. Defense?
Thank you. Do you know why you're here today? Why we called you? In relation to a lady named Lori Stelzick or Lori Stelzick Lewis. To tell the court, how long have you known Lori Stelzick?
My whole life,
And how long?
38 years.
And describe the court for how you know her.
I am her niece.
Did you know her and when she was married to Mr. Ruiz?
Yeah.
And how many years did that relationship last?
Oh my gosh, 20 some odd? A long time.
And where is Ruiz at today?
So
Mhm.
she is passed away.
He died, right?
Yeah.
During the time that he was married to Miss Stelzick, like on Miss Laura Stelzick, did you describe the nature of that relationship as you saw it, as you grew up with it, between Laurie and her husband?
I think it was dependent upon the day. Some days it was really wonderful and some days it was chaos. Really dependent upon what was going on, where everybody was, kind of where the headspace was. Obviously, as they got further along into it, it got more chaotic and part of the happiness.
Ruiz is not here today. You tell the judge described his personality and who called the shots and made the decisions in that family.
100%.
And we came down to doing things that may be in a gray area. Who had to do it?
Barney usually.
And are you familiar with the events that occurred that led up to this plea that Ms. Stelzick entered?
Yeah.
That's involved, it's like fraud or the transaction of a home. Is that correct?
Yes.
A foreign signature, perhaps. You know Laurie, you know her family, and you know them very well. Did Laurie Stelzick in any way personally profit from that thing? In fact, as a result of being married to Mr. Rubis up to the time of his death, has Laurie Stelzick come out financially ahead or behind? As far as you know, is Laurie Stelzick today broke and unemployed?
Yes.
After these transactions took place, you see a great increase in her lifestyle, her spending, vacations, or anything?
No.
Who was the person that benefited financially from those transactions?
Well, he took it for a straight profit.
And who is this man you call Myrtle?
Oh,
Raul Ruiz,
yes.
the deceased husband. He's the one that kept the cash, kept the money, kept everything going. Is that your estimation?
Yes, beforehand. And then we were left with bills. Or she was left with bills.
And after he died, she had to pay all the bills off.
Yes.
You know that Laurie Stelzick, that's the way I know her, is applying for deferred adjudication. It's a kind of a probation where if you complete it successfully, at the end of the day, the case can be dismissed. You have no conviction on your record. That's different from regular probation.
Okay.
If Judge Boyd sees fit to grant a request for deferred adjudication, knowing Laurie Stelzick, do you think she could abide by and go with all the conditions and rules imposed upon her by the court?
Yes.
And we ask the court to consider her application for deferred.
Absolutely.
At this time, I'll pass the witness. The state probably has questions. Don't we get?
State,
Thank you. So you're aware that the house from 215 Sadie Street was sold, correct?
Yes.
You know how much that house sold for?
151, I don't know.
119. Wow. $111,907.86.
111?
Mhm.
No, not $111.
How much?
111,000 maybe?
Thousand.
That sounds okay. I was like,
Okay.
oh gosh.
You testified now that Raul took all the money. Is that correct?
No, it's not that he took all of the money. It's that he took the profit from the money and the bills all stayed off. The house next door was paid off. His truck was paid off. The bills at the other house were paid off.
Have you looked at the actual bank records that were submitted to the court in this case?
No,
Have you looked at Laurie Stelzick's bank records?
no,
Are you aware that the money from this case was transferred into an account that was owned by Ms. Stelzick and her family?
yes,
Are you aware that after that occurred, Ms. Stelzick transferred the money into an account that only she owned, that Raul had no access to
after they separated?
before they separated?
You sure it was before they separated?
Or after?
If it was after they separated, probably.
And so how is it that Raul profited from the money when it all went into Laurie's account and he had no access to it?
Because he took everything that was paid off and then everything that was at home. And then he still got cash as well. I do believe there's even a check that was made out to him afterwards for maybe $15,000. Not positive on that.
There's no evidence of that in this file. Are you aware of any evidence?
No.
So it's your testimony that Raul took all the money, even though the bank records show
Not say that
otherwise?
he took all of the money. I said that he took off and what he had profit of. His truck was paid off. The house next door was paid off. He was also collecting rent on the house next door. All of those things, yes, made him profit.
And, sorry, forgive me, the house and the truck, those aren't things that were alleged to have been stolen via fraud, right? We're talking about the house on 215 Sadie Street, right?
Mhm.
And the money, the profit from the house on 215 Sadie Street went to Ms. Stelzick, isn't that right?
If you have the records, then I'm sure that it did. I don't have access to her bank account, obviously.
And so what you're really testifying today is that you don't have any specific knowledge about what happened to the money from the house on 215 Sadie Street.
I know that she didn't take off and go to the Bahamas or anything like that. I can say that much. I know that it was a struggle and that he was the one that took care of everything. And when he left, that she was destitute and that was it. And then everything was kind of left on the pavement at that point.
Again, you haven't looked at the bank records yourself.
Mhm.
And where did you learn all this information? From Lori
I
herself?
live next door to her and see her daily.
So you learned it from Lori?
Mhm.
Very good. Pass the witness.
So I have, thank you.
all right, call your next witness.
Shelley?
Yeah.
Call what's Shelley's last name? Shelley Ruiz, Your Honor.
Shelley Ruiz? Could you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Shelley Ruiz Turner,
Please spell it for the court reporter.
SHELLYRUIZTURNER.
Thank you. Now, okay, if I call you Shelley? Shelley, let me ask you, how do you know Miss Stelzick
She's my mother.
and Raul Ruiz?
He is my father.
And when the family goes a family, there was yourself, your dad, Laurie, anybody else?
I had an older sibling, a brother, but he was probably 10 years older than me when I was little, so he moved out relatively young.
Okay. You know why Miss Stelzick's in court today, right? She's asking the judge to consider her application for a deferred adjudication. Do you have a good working knowledge about the so-called fraud that went on? Miss Stelzick has pled to in this court. There's some money involved, about $111,000. When this occurred, how old were you?
I believe I was almost 17, so 16, 17.
And did you have a good knowledge of what was going on with the family finances at that time?
They were both very open with me about that, so I would say for a 17-year-old, yeah.
Okay. So the house is sold, there's about $111,000 comes out of it. What happened to that money?
Well, my dad was really pushing to sell the house. I feel like he kind of knew he was going to leave us. So he wanted to get it done. He wanted to try to get all of those assets taken care of. And he would tell my mom, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to go tomorrow. And she's like, well, I'm busy. So he really just pushed her. And when the house sold, my dad liked to make everything under my mom's name. So he put it in an account, or well, they put it into an account together. And from there on out, I believe when my dad left, my mom said, well, I need money to live off of. I'm going to take this before you can take it all, and then just split it up in mediation through divorce. Well, my dad was the type to tell her, well, you're either going to give me money out of that account, or I'm going to go and beat you pretty much.
This is important, I guess. During this relationship, they were married. Was this a controlling environment?
Very much so. Not just to her, to me, to everybody who was around us.
Was your own father abusive of you? Did he threaten you? Did he beat you?
He did strike me a couple of times when I was a lot younger. I'm sorry. CPS did have to get involved because of him. And he would tell me, if you tell them anything, it's going to be a lot worse for you. And when I was about 17, he had hit me again, trying to defend my mother.
And why were you trying to defend your mother, Laura Stills? What was happening?
My dad would throw her downstairs. He would threaten her.
Threaten her how?
He would tell her, I'm going to kill you. So I'm going to kill your kid. So I'm going to kill her first. You have to watch.
So your dad wanted to say to you, he would kill his wife, Laurie, and you had to watch, right?
He said he would kill me and then make her live with that and then kill her.
So the person after this money got there, you can't say today where this part went, where that part went, but who is the person benefited primarily from that money from the sale of that home?
Well, my father,
What did he do with that money? How did he use it?
he had a girlfriend and he said he wanted to make sure that she had somewhere to stay and that live. And he had paid off his truck and gave it to her, which was a truck that, was supposed to go to me for college. It was right around the corner. He would try all sorts of things to try to get me to go and live with him. So she would be all alone with nothing. He would bribe me with money. He would say, I'll buy you a new car. I'll buy you a house. But he did tell her one time, I need you to send me $11,000 right now. And she's like, I can't, I have bills to pay. And he said, well, if you don't send it to me, I'm going to go over there and I'll pull her out and you'll never see her again.
Referring to who?
To
You?
me, to myself.
He'd pull you out of the house and Laura would never see you again. Your own dad told you that. If you didn't get $11,000 from whom?
From my mother. He tried to run me over with the vehicle a couple times. He busted down my door several times when my daughter was sleeping in the room. And It just never ended.
So take it your father was not a loving and kind man towards his family.
He was my dad. He did have loving attributes. He was very good to me until about 14.
But
when
age
it just
14.
completely changed.
Let me just ask you a simple question, I suppose. Of all that money that came out of the sale of that house, who benefited the most from that money? Raul Ruiz or Lori, his wife?
Well,
And what money Lori still had got, he even threatened her to get that money, didn't he?
I didn't even think we could pay the electric bill when he first left. And yet, he said we had all this money. I ended up having to almost quit school and get a job to support us. So I would say he benefited the majority.
You know you're on your oath today, right?
Yes.
You wouldn't come here to lie to Judge Boyd, would you? That's all I have. I'll pass this to the state of Texas. He may have questions for you.
When you got that job, where did you work?
Maybe
What did you make?
$9 an hour.
You have access to the bank records in this case?
No, I was a minor.
Are you aware as of whether Lori is currently employed?
She's not.
What did she do for a living before now?
She was a home health care provider for both of her parents.
Do you have any other employment
Yeah, she worked at East Central Independent School District.
as what?
I believe, at their nutrition department. They kind of bounced her around.
Has Lori owned any other properties?
And both owned, 2 separate properties other than their home, 3.
What became of those other properties?
I have no clue what happened to the one next to us. I think his son Justin resold it before we could get our probate done. The other property was Sadie. They sold that. And then the property right next to us, my aunt Kimberly, who just came up, she lives in it.
And so Lori still owns that property?
Yes.
You know where's that property located?
It's either 9740 or 9720 WW.
Who resides there?
My aunt.
You pay rent for Lori?
Yeah, she'll pay our bills.
You know what the rent is?
It's just whatever our bills are for that month.
So you and I guess you live with Lori right now?
Yeah, me and my husband support Lori for the most part.
And so the rent from that property just pays the outcome of those bills.
Yeah, so-
No further questions?
Yes, one reason then that Lori has not been employed is because when she goes out and try and get a job, they see his charges pending, in fact, turn her down a lot of employment. Not that she has not been trying to get a job.
Oh, no, she's tried and tried. We put our resumes everywhere.
And her source of income is dried up to the extent if we're out for you and your husband, she gets a street based condition. And as I tell Judge Boyd this morning,
She Lori helps everybody around her. She's never done anything bad in her life to anybody.
and you're asking Judge to consider her application for deferred adjudication this morning.
I am.
That's all I have, Joe.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Call your next witness.
She's before the trial.
All right, could you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Emma Laporte,
All right.
Spell that
Vince.
last name for the court reporter.
LACOUR.
Emma, tell us, how old are you?
I am 43.
We won't tell anybody, it's okay. Can you tell the court, are you employed?
Yes, I am.
What kind of work do you do?
I am a barber.
And how long have you followed that profession?
I'm going on 10 years.
Prior to that, what kind of work were you doing?
Liquor store.
Have you been employed?
Hold on. Didn't hear it. Speak up louder.
Liquor store. Yes.
Have you been employed most of your life?
Yes.
Can you tell the court, where are you living?
I'm living in Corpus Christi.
And how long have you been in Corpus Christi, Texas?
I moved back to San Antonio. I think I moved back in 2011. I was here
from Corpus, and then I moved back. I came back to San Antonio, remember, back in 2011.
One of the reasons we are here is about a signature that was signed by Lauren Stelzick, and it's actually supposed to be your signature.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Can you explain to Judge Boyd what property that involved and what was going on at that time?
It was the house on Sadie Street. We're supposed to gone on over the phone and do a signature. I didn't know that it was not valid that way, so it was done over the phone. My signature.
Who was handling this transaction on the phone? Was it a realtor? Was it a notary public?
I believe it was a notary.
And tell Judge Boyd, why would your signature be needed that day?
It was the signature sign that Lori had owned the house of the property.
And was your name anywhere on that property?
No.
And what was your signature needed for as far as you knew?
Saying that she owned the property.
And you did that by phone, but in fact, you were not in front of a notary when it happened. You gave your permission telephonically, but not in person.
Correct.
But as far as the actual transaction taking place, you have no personal knowledge, do you?
No.
You were not there.
No.
You would explain to the court that's how Laura Stelzick signed your
Yes,
signature.
my signature.
With your permission.
With my permission over the phone.
Did you know that was an illegal proceeding to do that?
No, no.
You know now that it has to be done in front of a notary if that's the fact.
Correct.
For identification to prove that you are that person.
Correct.
Thank you. I will now pass the witness.
Is that your signature?
No, not that one signature, no.
So it's your testimony today that Lori Stelzick forged that signature?
She, fine, yes.
And she told you that it was a signature demonstrating that you own the house?
That I own the house?
I'm sorry, that Lori owned 213 Sadie?
Yes,
So you don't know who Romelia Ruiz is?
yes, I do.
Who is she?
That it is Roy's mother
And where did she pass away?
in Mexico.
Where in Mexico?
Somewhere in, I can't even think, it's been so long.
Do you remember when in Mexico? You remember how?
Yes, it was right when the Firestone's tires had that issue with the tires blowing out, and she was in a van with a bunch of people in it. A child was killed in that accident.
And did you know that Raul and Beatrice had another brother?
You know,
And so Lori, with your permission, put your signature on a legal document. Is that correct?
yes.
And that's this document that states that you know personally Romelia Ruiz
Mm-hmm,
and how she died
mm-hmm.
and who her siblings are.
The only was B as far as I know.
And you now are testifying that you don't generally know where she died or when she died.
I know she died in Mexico. What year, I don't recall. I've had a lot of past people, it's kind of hard to remember what year people passed, but
And this is an affidavit of heirship. This would be demonstrating that you were a close personal friend of this family in Mexico. Were you a close personal friend of Romelia?
I wasn't very close, but I knew who she was. I knew she came to the house.
So Lori asked you to lie in the document.
Please.
No, she didn't tell me to lie. She lied me? How am I lying to her? Or I don't understand, because is it showing that I'm lying if I know her mother? I don't know them personally. I knew.
All right, if there's going to be any further questioning of this witness, she's going to need an attorney.
No further questions, Your
No
Honor.
further questions, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. You're excused.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other witnesses?
No, I believe there are other family members, friends in court that would come up and testify essentially to the same issues. Could just be reputation by Raul Ruiz.
Okay.
The relationship between them, the abusive nature of that relationship. With that, I think we'll just go ahead and call no more witnesses.
All right, Ms. Stelzick, you can resume in the middle. Is there anything you wish to say?
Lauren?
If you do, you're going to be placed under oath and the state will have a chance to cross-examination. All right, do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? You can lower your hand and state your name for the record, please.
Laurie Ruiz.
All right. So of course, here's the crux of the situation before anybody questions you or cross-examine you. The question is, why should I give you deferred? It appears from everything that I've read that you took the proceeds from property and those proceeds were to be distributed to children, and it was not.
That's not true. The documents aren't true. I have,
Do you want a jury trial?
I have paperwork stating that I own. them.
Do you want a jury trial?
You do not want your child. We
No,
discussed it,
no.
right?
All right. All right. So this is what the court is going to do. The court is finding you guilty. The court will sentence you to 10 years in prison, suspended and probated for 10 years. There's restitution of $18,651.31 to Beatriz Vasquez, $18,651.31 to Patricio Ruiz. There's to be no contact with Beatriz Vasquez, Cecilia Ruiz, Patricia Ruiz. There's going to be proof of employment within 40 days. There's to be no employment as a home health care provider with minors. There's to be regular reporting and regular UAs. Ms. Stelzick, this is money that has to be paid back. And I know sometimes people do not, we can go off the record, Brenna. I know sometimes people don't want to work certain jobs because they think it's beneath them. But guess what? When you have children, when you owe money, you got to work whatever job is available because you got to pay people you owe and support whatever children you have. You understand? All right, I'm going to show you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Here are Mr. Sawyer. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you sign it? Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand? And because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. Do you understand? All right, Ms. Stelzick, good luck to you. All right, you're welcome. Thank you, Mr. Sawyer.
Thank you for considering it this morning. We appreciate it.
All right, you're welcome. It's always great seeing you. Take care of yourself,
We
Mr.
will.
Sawyer. All right.